My topic today is hypnosis for kids. What happens in the minds of children who are separated from their parents? Yeah, this has been like a thing that's just big in our news for a little while, maybe a month. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about it today. Yeah, I'm Angie Hernandez from the Indiana Hypnosis Center, where bad habits don't have to last forever. Get rid of those bad habits with hypnosis. We've had some traumatic days in our country, and we've been watching as children and parents have been separated at the Mexican-USA border. Very quickly, American mothers and fathers spoke out, condemning the action, and the president reacted. Even though that policy's been changed, many are wondering what happens in the minds of children that are separated from their parents. Before we get going today, I want to tell you about my free report, 146 Ways Hypnotherapy Might Help You. It's my intensive list of everyday problems that can be helped with hypnosis. I see these in my practice, and I'm sharing it with you free. You can get it at the indianahypnosiscenter.com. All right, now I can't jump into the minds of children on the border. What I can do is tell you about clients that I've seen for hypnotherapy that had childhood trauma and what happened to them. Let's get started. Before I was a hypnotherapist, back when my children were small, I had a good friend. She was a little older than me and from Canada. She told me that when she was young, her father kidnapped her and kept her for a period of time. She was separated from her mother. Her father spent a lot of time hanging out in boxing gyms and took her with him. Now, not the clean, brightly colored gyms of today with workout music and air conditioning. These were the boxing gyms of the 60s. She remembers them as dirty, smelly rooms with large, stinking men who frightened her. Finally, the police located her and returned her to her mother. I wish I were a hypnotherapist then, because she never fully recovered from that. Her father was long dead, but she'd feel anxiety and a little angry whenever her boys had smelly gym clothes or their rooms needed cleaning. I could have helped her reconcile that feeling. Those feelings never left her. Sometimes in hypnosis we use regression, going back in your life to see where a trauma originated. It's tricky, and you need someone well-trained to do it, or you can relive the trauma, not something we ever want to do. Or a person's memory can be affected. That's not good. But when done properly, regression can be surprising. Some people recall times when they were very young, like younger than the age of 2. Some even have memories of their birth or while they were in the womb. These are usually memories of a trauma. The child feels the fear of not being wanted or not being safe or even being abandoned. So when we're seeing reports of babies and toddlers being separated from their parents, we could be seeing the beginning of a lifelong trauma. A trauma for a young child might not seem like much of an event to an adult. Even so, it has lifelong consequences for many people. Each person perceives trauma in their own way, but the underlying theme seems to be that when a child does not feel safe or in control of their situation, a trauma is being born. So, when we face a trauma, our subconscious mind makes up rules about life that stick with us. The rule is a child's rule, but it continues on into adulthood. Here are some rules I've seen in adults that were created in childhood events. Number 1, I'm not good enough. A lot of us have this rule embedded in our brains. This can come from any number of childhood points of view. One client made the rule when she was denied a popsicle after dinner, but her sibling was allowed one. Just being overlooked in any way can trigger the I'm not good enough rule. Imagine being told that by a whole country. Number 2, I don't deserve a good life. This can also be tied in sometimes to survivor's guilt. A colleague mentioned that a client remembered a moment when he was a toddler in his playpen. His stepbrother was beating up his brother. In that moment, he felt he was not safe and not in control, and that his brother was dying. This led to many adult problems, but all of them around the root of them all was this rule his mind established because of this event, the I don't deserve a good life rule. He didn't deserve a good life because as a toddler, he could not save his brother. Harsh, right? But that's a toddler's point of view, and the idea in his mind didn't change because he matured. Number 3, I'm just not good at math, spelling, cooking, sports, relationships, fill in the blank. Again, a pretty common rule that many of us adopt as young people. This one I've seen instilled in many people in many ways. One client said she was not a good cook. Her aunts and mother were, but she was not. For her, this was said as a failing on her part. It was tied into her outlook on herself as a woman, and she chastised herself for it. It didn't matter that she was so talented in other ways, or that women do all kinds of things. Cooking isn't encoded into our DNA. So many of us take on this rule because something a family member says, or a coach, or a teacher, while others take it as a challenge to do well. How does our mind decide which of those ways is best for us? That's a question we can't answer. Another client says she doesn't like Christmas. I asked why. She said when she was very young, she wrapped fresh fruit for her father as a present. When he opened it and found it spoiled, everyone laughed. Even though her father praised and soothed her as an adult, she couldn't let that laughter go. She still clung to the rule she had made that day. I hate Christmas. These are just some of the rules we make up for ourselves as children when we feel out of control and unsafe, especially if the persons in our life who we thought could protect us are taken away and we see that they cannot protect us. When children are separated from their families, we don't know what rules those children are making up in their minds. It can be devastating to the adults who they will become. Let's remember to guard the children, no matter what the politics are. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this, give me a like on my site, follow me. If you see it on YouTube, well, why don't you follow me and give me a thumbs up? I'd sure like to see a comment from you and if you have an opinion on this issue. All right, thanks. Y'all have a great rest of your day.